Welcome to Sacred Space, the podcast. I am Tanika, your host, and this is a space for you to tune in and become educated, evolved, and expanded on all things generational healing, personal development, and spirituality. This is a space where I'll get beautiful, like-minded guests on to speak into their stories and their wisdom, as well as hearing mine. So take a big, deep breath into your belly, get anchored, get grounded, and let's get into this week's episode. Hello, welcome to another episode of the podcast. I hope you've been enjoying what has been on the show lately. I've had some amazing episodes with some guests. I've had some different things that are coming up. I'm just super excited for this second half of the year. Or should I say second quarter? Fourth quarter, because it is literally nearly Christmas time. Like, I went into Bunnings and there was Christmas decorations. I know every year it's like a thing. And I'm definitely not giving like my energy to it and being like, oh my God, how is it here? But at the same time, I'm like, holy shit, the year has gone. But it's been a perfect space to be in reflection. And that's what this episode's really going to be about. What New Year's resolutions did you set that you haven't even achieved yet? And if you have been listening since the start, you know, like at the very beginning of this year, or maybe it was last year, I did have an episode about how I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. Simply because I just believe that if you want to start something, like action it now. Don't put it into like a later time frame to maybe do later and then probably not do and then enter a shame spiral. Like, very much just if you want to be someone, like be that person. But I also understand that a lot of people still do set New Year's resolutions for themselves. So when you are just in reflection and, you know, be in reflection right now as you're listening, maybe you're driving, maybe you're cleaning, maybe you're on a walk. Like, are you the person that you wanted to be right now? When you looked into 2023, were you like, are you showing up as that person? Maybe it was to be healthier. Maybe it was to step out of your comfort zone more. Maybe it was to make like-minded friends and, you know, cut ties with toxic people who weren't serving you. But have you actually done that? Or are you still just waiting to do that soon? Or are you maybe putting that into your 2024 New Year's resolutions, right? Are you already starting to think into who 2024 version of you is? Or are you that person and you need to elevate that person now? Not necessarily need to elevate that person, but, you know, once you're on that role of personal development, once you're on that role of like feeling how good it is to just feel good, it just comes naturally that you want to continue elevating who you are. And anyway, today I want to have a little conversation, and it's just going to be a short episode, but just about some ways or some things that you could implement into your life right now, not on Monday, not in 2024, but right now, to set you up to be the best version of you in 2024. Because it's actually a compounding effect. Like, it doesn't just start in one moment. And I've seen this in my business of how, you know, that instant gratification piece of like, oh my gosh, I just want to be in one space. Like, but it takes time. I've seen this in my relationship with my partner. As you know, like, we've been together for 9 years. It was not this deep, meaningful, and intimate, like, even a few years ago, right? It's a compounding effect. Like, it actually is a compounding effect. Relationship with myself, relationship with fucking everything. I'm like, it's actually a compounding effect. So it's actually silly of you to think that on Monday you're going to wake up and just choose that next version of you. It's actually silly, and stick with it. It's actually silly for you to say that in 2024 you're going to be the most healthiest, wealthiest, magnetic version of you, but then today you're tired and on your way home you get McDonald's for dinner. Or today you get invited to go out to an event that you actually don't want to go to, but you still say yes because you don't know how to say no, right? Like, and there's no shame in any of these things. It's having the awareness and then consciously choosing different choices. And I just wanted to like bring that to you that, like, you know, sometimes we tell ourselves that we're going to start something in the future because it's easier than actually facing what the fuck is going on for us right now in this moment. And it's just a way of us getting in our own way. And anyway, I'm going to pull this week's Oracle card and then I'm going to drop back into this because I clearly just started riffing. So give me one moment. I'm going to get the Oracle card ready. Okay, I ended up pulling a tarot for us, which I don't use tarot that often, but I got the teacher card, which is number 5. Oh my gosh, this number has been coming to me all day. So this morning I had a women's circle that I go to with Souls in Sync. Oh my God, you should definitely follow them, especially if you're local to the Sunshine Coast. It's a free women's circle on Majimba Beach every Wednesday, and I just love all the girls. It's just so much fun. Anyway, I was number 5 there. we get numbered so that we can pair up. Anyway, long story short, I got number 5. I've got 555 tattooed on my arm. I this morning was driving, and when I got to the destination that I had to get to on my car, I had like 70,000, but like, wait, 70555, I think, K's left on my car. I mean, not left. That's how many I've driven in my car. So like the 5 again. And then last night when I was driving home from dance, 2 cars that were in front of me had 55 on the number plate. Anyway, 5 is the number of change. So I'm definitely going through a big shift right now. So, and oh my gosh, guys, like literally I'm looking at the recording and it's been recording for 5 minutes. Like, are you kidding me? Anyway, this card, I just got lost off on a tangent with the number 5, but this card is the teacher card. So with this tarot deck that I have, it doesn't give lots of in-depth answers. Like it doesn't give an in-depth explanation, I guess. But in the card, she's standing under a tree. She's got birds flying around her, a butterfly, a squirrel. Okay, sorry, I was interpreting it as I was saying it. And really what I'm seeing is, for myself, I've just started studying naturopathy, and it's like she's in nature and she's like coming back to nature. And I'm like, this is interesting because I am now studying naturopathy, which is all about like coming back to nature and like trusting in the body to heal through nature and through self. So that really lands for me. But what is written, it says, learn the spiritual teachings of nature. Allow creatures great and small to teach you their messages. Seek guidance from those who are wise. Teaching by the way of discovery, religion, seeking guidance from a higher authority, connecting to your divine source. So, take this however it landed for you, and remember that your intuition, like whatever comes to you, trust that. Like it's absolutely perfect. Maybe when I said the teacher card, someone else in your life came up for you. Maybe it was you in a position of teaching. Maybe it is that there's something that you need to learn. Like maybe you're the student of something, but the teacher card has come to you for a reason. Or maybe it's simply that you just need to take the messages from the little things in life, right? All right, let's spin it back to where we were just before I pulled the tarot. And I was talking about how we tell ourselves that we're going to start on a Monday, and then we wake up the Monday, maybe we do it a few days, and then like it just doesn't stick. Like this new habit, this new thing that we want to do, this next version of us just seems so unreachable. And I feel like we've had all these planets in retrograde recently. I think a couple still are in retrograde at the time of recording anyway. And it's been a very inward time. And for me, what I've seen in myself is some places I was lacking in life that were allowing me to continue playing into like not the next level version of me, but they were shadows. So it was like I was blindsiding myself. So the biggest thing here is, since I was like literally so young, like 14 or something, I was always so interested in natural medicine. And I've always, like, obviously you guys would know that, like clearly look at the career I'm already pursuing, right? Very interested in like spirituality, natural medicine, herbs, all these things. Anyway, so I always wanted to study naturopathy, which is to become a naturopath, but I kind of just like didn't believe in myself. Actually, let me rephrase that. I did not believe in myself. I didn't think I was smart enough because I, left year 12 halfway through. So I was like, oh, I didn't even graduate, whatever. But anyway, I got to this space and it's like, I'm 24 years old and I realized, why the fuck am I just not studying it? Like, I've studied all these other modalities. I am smart enough to study. I'm not stupid, clearly. And I just got to this space where I was like, Tanika, like, stop doing the whole like, oh, maybe next year you could look into studying, or maybe that thing will come along. It was like I knew that this was like my next step, and I've known this since before I took any of the other steps I've taken, but I was kind of just ignoring it because I didn't feel worthy. And then I got to this space and I was like, literally start now, like actually start now. And it was so interesting how it happened, because we had our full moon. I did a release with the girls in Circle. And then the next day I was like, no, I'm fucking doing it. And I applied to study naturopathy. And then I had a phone call the next day. It started the day I got a phone call, the course. And they were like, yep, you're accepted, like blah, blah, blah. Like just, 24 hours in your student portal set up, because it's the first like year and a half or 2 years is online, and then the rest will be in campus. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is happening so fast. I can't even believe it. I was literally like going through the motions of like, holy shit, I'm actually choosing myself here. And then I got a call back and they were like, actually, we're also going to offer you a scholarship, which is 20% off my tuition fees, as long as I stay full time. And I was like, oh my fucking God, like, are you kidding me? So I'm studying naturopathy now full time, guys, but me choosing me in that has like actually opened me up to realize the little things that I've like kind of done along the way that have gotten me to the space of, yeah, okay, this doesn't feel too heavy to hold. Okay, so basically something that you could implement right now. What is your organizational skills like? Are you, do you have a calendar where you've got sort of like some rough schedule? Do you have your clothes folded in your cupboard? Do you know where things go in your house? Do you keep your car clean? Like, what other things like that you can think of that like make you feel really calm and at peace, right? Because our external world directly reflects our internal world. So where can you clean up your external world so that your internal world has a little bit more breathing room, right? So that you're not like feeling overwhelmed with things. I know for me, a couple of things that I always do is like, for example, right? Dishes, the kitchen is always done before at night. This is so that in the morning I can wake up and I don't even have to like worry about the kitchen. I'm like, it's done. Like it's done. It's out of the way. I don't have an excuse to even be like, oh, I can't, start doing some work because I've got to get the kitchen done, because I'm very much like can fall into that. And I used to be very much someone who would like self-sabotage so that I couldn't grow, right? I always keep the inside of my car clean. As we know, I live on a dirt road. I mean, you might not even fucking know that. I don't know why I just assumed that you would know where I live. But I live on a dirt road, so it's really hard to keep the external of my car clean. But I always keep the internal of my car clean so that when I get into it, I'm, even if I'm in a rush, even if I'm running late, it's not like, oh, fuck, like my car's disgusting. It's like, we're good. Like, we're good. Okay, let's get to the space. Let's feel good. Let's chuck on a song, right? I use Google Calendar. And I've been using Google Calendar for fucking ever, particularly with like things for work and clients. I have like my client times and stuff that I pop in there. But just as of recently, I have also started putting in there like my self-love time as well, so that I'm not missing that, because it's so important. And I was just recognizing how like life was like a bit busy, and I was like, I was still, of course, showing myself love. Like, goddamn, we know, like that is, I do it every single day, in whatever capacity that is. But I recognized that it was feeling a little bit like, oh, do I have time to do it? And I was recognizing that part of me that was going to like not do it. And I was like, So we've started implementing that into our calendar. So I get a reminder. And, I just want to remind you, like, if you are someone who is seeking more ways to be organized, you're seeking like wanting to step into that next level of you, but it feels overwhelming, like just start how I did. Just start with putting in like your work stuff, like your shifts or whatever it is you do for work. Like pop that into your calendar first. Pop in the things that you know are like rigid and like have to be at the same time, and then start working your way around it. Like maybe it's, oh yeah, I know I'm going to go to this Pilates class, pop it in my calendar just to get into that routine of like popping things in your calendar. And honestly, Google Calendar is so slay. Like it gives you notifications if you want it to. It is just so good. You can do color codes, like all the things. So really, if you're not using some sort of like scheduling, like calendar vibe sort of thing, maybe your thing is to write it down. I used to be a handwritten person, but like since I've got to like keep so much on the go, like it's way easier for me to get notifications. So Google Calendar is definitely the go. Another thing that I also implement is Notion. Oh my God. Notion is like actually elite. Like if you study, if you are a busy mom, if you are just a busy person, if you have like lots of commitments, or you run a business, or you, whatever it is you do, like I feel like everyone has a lot on their plate. Like use Notion. There's so many YouTube tutorials where you can go on there, like watch people how to like set up your Notion and all the things. But like it's actually changed my life. Because it's a space where you can like take notes. On there I have like embedded calendars as well, where it's got like all my upcoming assessments, like when they're due, by like they're sorted by date. I have on there like upcoming things for the podcast. I have on there upcoming, like you can do timelines. So like I've got all the timelines on there for my business of like when things are launching. It's honestly so fucking good. And like, it doesn't matter like what you do, but it's just like, you can have different like categories. Like I've got home life, I've got work, I've got uni. It's just so good. And implementing that has taken such a huge load off of me so that I can then step into this elevated version of me without feeling overwhelmed, right? Because this is what it is. It's like we a lot of the time hold ourselves back, say that we'll start on Monday, say that we'll start next year, because we feel like right now we're already holding too much. But how do you expect to hold even more and to be the elevated version of you if you can't even handle what is in your world right now? And so that's why it really comes back to start looking at your life right now and like fine tuning life right now. Like start elevating things in that way. So organizational skills like this, like using apps or softwares or whatever it is, or writing it down, whatever it might look like, just getting it out of your mind, are literally like key, as well as keeping your environment clean, like I've said. Another really good app I use, which like, look at me just recommending all my organizational apps, but I've been using this one for so long, Todoist. It's like, I know it's a weird name, but it's like the to-do list, but like Todoist, right? Oh my God, it is so good. Like every time I have like a little thing drop into my mind that I know I've got to do, like maybe it's go over like content for a call that I'm running, maybe it's to print something out for a client, maybe it's to check in with like my Stripe or something like that. I don't know, just for an example. I just pop that there. It reminds me at the end of the day if I haven't completed tasks, and it just helps so much for me to stay so clear, especially now that I've started studying. I'm recognizing like I'll be studying and then I'll be like, my brain will just be like, oh, but you've got to do this. So I'll actually just write it down, and then I can't be like, oh, go do it now before you forget. Do you know what I mean? And the last thing that I would be recommending is get out of your comfort zone, queen. Get out of your comfort zone. Honestly, this has changed so much for me, and it always does. Like it changes so much for everyone. Like getting out of your comfort zone, you're stretching your edges, you're proving to yourself that you can do more than you are doing right now. And this in itself will then allow you to feel confident in stepping into that next level of you. And honestly, if you are just like getting out of your comfort zone, could be having a cold shower, going to a cafe and just like having breakfast by yourself and just observing the scenery, right? It could be going to a new gym class. It could be like, name your thing. It could be any of these things. But when you do that, you're showing yourself you can do new things. You can do scary things. And in turn, you're just going to be a more confident human. Basically, my advice to you is if you're wanting to really step into the next version of you, your highest version of you, your highest timeline, like bring in organization in your external reality, but also bring it into your internal reality by using calendars and like all the things. And step out of your comfort zone. Like 3 things that you could action right now. Like I know you could. I know that it's probably something that you need to do in your external environment. Maybe it's even just making your bed. Maybe it's just folding some clothes that have been on the floor for a while. Maybe it's like cleaning out your fridge, right? Like there's just a few things for you. And then start writing everything down. Maybe you do track with a schedule, but maybe you don't have a to-do list, right? Implement one of these things. And lastly, step out of your comfort zone. Maybe stepping out of your comfort zone is actually like cleaning up your external environment. Maybe stepping out of your comfort zone is actually sitting down with your schedule and like having time management tools, because that in itself can be fucking scary, right? I hope you've got so much out of this episode. I have so much love for you. I can't wait to see like you all just like flourish into like the most elevated version of yourselves before 2024, because that's what it's all about. We're going to start taking action now so that by the time we get to 2024, you are so slay. I do have a couple of exciting things coming in the near future, which is going to be so much fun. So stay tuned. We've got a sneaky little course about our inner seasons, which is going to be so good. If you're wanting to be a part of that, DM me on Instagram and just say inner seasons. I'll know you're from the podcast and I'll give you a cheeky little discount. Other than that, I love you so much, and I'll be back in your ears next Thursday at 5:55 a.m. Hi, beautiful. Thank you so much for being a part of my podcast community. I have so much gratitude for you, and I would love to hear what you think about this podcast. Leave me a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or share this episode with a close friend that needs to hear it. If you leave me a review and send me the screenshot on Instagram at sacredspace_w_tanika_lace, I will forward you access to a free guided womb healing breathwork journey and a 15% off code to purchase any masterclasses or courses available on my website. All you have to do is leave me a review, send me the screenshot on Instagram at sacredspace_w_tanika_lace, and I'll forward you access to the free guided womb journey and a 15% off code. I love you so much, and I'll see you next week.